Today we're going to be talking about when Jesus' family fled to Egypt after the wise men, and it's found in Matthew 2, verses 13 to 23. We're specifically going to be reading verse 13 and verses 16 to 17. This was after Jesus was born, and when the shepherds came, and then years later the wise men came. This is right after that happened. So in verse 13 of Matthew 2, we see, "Now when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, 'Arise, take the young child and his mother, flee to Egypt, and stay there until I bring you word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him.'" So we see from this that the angel warns Joseph of the persecution that Herod is going to try and bring on him. And Herod, if you remember, was the king that was trying to kill Jesus because Jesus was going to be the king according to Old Testament prophecy, which he is going to be in the future. We see that God brings the angel to tell Joseph God's will for Jesus and his family so that they would be protected. And Herod wanted to kill Jesus. And this is how Satan works in our world. He wants to bring tough situations and persecution into our life to try and stop God's plan and to try and draw us away from God. And even trying to bring death to Jesus and other people is one of the things that Satan tries to do even in our lives. He tries to bring bad things to happen and death and things like that to draw us away from God. But God protects his people through these circumstances for his good. And in verse 16 and 17 we read, "Then Herod, when he saw that he was deceived by the wise men, was exceedingly angry, and he sent forth and put to death all the male children who were in Bethlehem and in all its districts, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had determined from the wise men. Then was fulfilled what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet." So in these verses, we see that Herod got mad that the wise men didn't tell him where Jesus was because the wise men were trying to protect Jesus. And in response, Herod kills all the baby boys that were under 2 years old. So that's a lot of people that are being killed. But we see that Jesus was protected through this. And we see that this was a fulfilled prophecy in verse 18 as well as verse 15, which we didn't read, as fulfilled prophecy from the Old Testament. And Jesus is kept safe through this. So God's plan is brought about even though bad situations come up and Satan and his people that are unrighteous are still trying to stop God's plan. God's plan comes about and Jesus is safe.